They tagged 50 crocodiles, surgically, scientifically, each one carrying a transmitter designed to last a decade, broadcasting its location every few minutes to a network of receivers stretched along 60 kilometers of river. Then the signals started going out, one by one, then in clusters. Transmitters that should have had years of battery life, silent. By the time scientists tallied the numbers, fewer than a quarter of the animals they had released were still in the data. The rest had vanished. Not escaped, not wandered beyond range, vanished in ways that took years of investigation, tens of millions of data recordings, and one genuinely disturbing scientific discovery to explain. This is what happened to the missing crocodiles. And once you understand it, you will never look at Australia's rivers the same way again. Cape York Peninsula, the very tip of Queensland. A wilderness so remote that most Australians have never seen it, and so biologically rich that scientists have been trying to understand it for decades. The Wenlock River cuts through 335,000 acres of national reserve. It holds the highest diversity of freshwater fish species of any river system on the continent. And beneath its brown, tannin-stained water, some of the most powerful animals that have ever walked the earth. The saltwater crocodile, Crocodilus porosus to science, salty to everyone who lives near one, is the largest living reptile on the planet. An adult male can grow to 7 meters in length and push past 1,000 kilograms. Its jaw, when it clamps shut, generates over 16,000 newtons of force, the strongest bite ever measured from any living animal. More than twice the force of a great white shark, enough to crush a buffalo's skull. And they have been doing this for 200 million years. Since 2008, researchers from Australia's zoo and the University of Queensland have been conducting the most ambitious crocodile study in the world, capturing, measuring and tagging every animal they can find in the Wenlock River, then following those animals with an array of 60 underwater hydrophone receivers spread throughout the system. Imagine standing on the riverbank in the dark, holding down an animal that weighs as much as a small car, trying to make a precise surgical incision behind its left foreleg. The tag, about the size of a thumb drive, is slipped under the skin. Sutures closed. Antibiotic applied. The crocodile is released back into the water it came from. Its signal begins transmitting within seconds. By the 2024 research season, 277 individual crocodiles were actively tracked in the Wenlock River alone, with more than 10 million data recordings collected. This is, by every measure, the most comprehensive wild crocodile study ever conducted. And it keeps revealing things that rewrite the textbooks. But the most significant discovery didn't come from what the transmitters showed, it came from what they stopped showing. Here is a number that should stop you cold. In the early 1970s, when Australian law finally banned the hunting of saltwater crocodiles, there were approximately 3,000 of them left in the entire Northern Territory. 3,000 in rivers that stretched for thousands of kilometers, in a habitat that could sustain orders of magnitude more. Hunters had taken nearly everything. Today, there are 100,000. In 50 years, a 33-fold increase. The rivers of northern Australia, every tidal estuary, every mangrove-lined inlet, every deep river pool are now, in the language of ecology, saturated. And this is where the story of the disappearing crocodiles begins. Because the saltwater crocodile is not an animal that shares, not with humans, not with other species, and certainly not with other crocodiles. An adult male saltwater crocodile, a true dominant, a river king, controls a defined stretch of water. He knows every bend, every submerged log, every shadow of his territory. He broadcasts his presence in sub-audible vibrations that travel hundreds of meters through the water. Other males know he is there. They are supposed to stay away. When they don't, the consequences are documented. A 2023 study in the journal Behavioral Ecology and Sociobiology tracked 78 male crocodiles on the Wenlock River over 11 consecutive years and found something remarkable. The large territorial males, the dominant ones, show a significantly higher rate of physical injury than their smaller, nomadic counterparts. Puncture wounds, torn limbs, deep scarring, the marks of battles fought and won. In a river system that was nearly empty 50 years ago and is now packed wall to wall with the world's most territorial reptile, violent confrontation is daily business. And the confrontations are not always survived. Here is what the scientists found when they studied the disappearing transmitter signals. Some of them didn't go dark. They moved, briefly, quickly, to a new location. And that location was the established territory of a dominant male, a large one that had been detected in the same stretch of river for years. And then the signal stopped moving. The saltwater crocodile is a documented cannibal. It is written plainly in the biological literature. Dominant males kill and consume smaller rivals. Young males moving through a territory, nomadic individuals that miscalculate a boundary, they are seized, rolled, drowned, and consumed. In a population that has tripled in density within a single human generation, this behavior has become not rare, but routine. When a tagged crocodile is killed and eaten by a dominant male, something remarkable happens in the data. The transmitter, still powered, still broadcasting, continues to send its signal. But now it is transmitting from inside the stomach of the animal that consumed it. Scientists in acoustic telemetry research have a term for this, a predation event. And in a river where dominant males are larger, more aggressive, and more territorial than at any point in recorded history, these events leave fingerprints in the data. The missing crocodiles didn't escape. They didn't wander out of range. Many of them were eaten by their own kind, by the apex predators of a river so full that only the largest, most violent animals can hold territory. The saltwater crocodile has become the apex predator of itself. Think about what that means for a species that evolved over 200 million years. In all that time, the saltwater crocodile never had a predator capable of taking it down. Nothing in the natural world hunted it. So the species invented a solution. It hunts itself. When resources are scarce and territory is full, the dominant males do what evolution has always done. They remove the competition. What you are watching in the Wenlock River data is natural population control at its most brutal and most effective. But this is only half the story, because there is a second force taking crocodiles from Australia's rivers. One that didn't evolve alongside them, one that arrived in a cargo hold 90 years ago from another continent entirely. In 1935, 100 cane toads arrived in Queensland by boat from Hawaii. The plan was simple: import a natural beetle predator to protect the sugarcane fields. The plan failed immediately. The toads ignored the beetles and began reproducing. Today, there are an estimated 200 million cane toads across Australia, and in the northern rivers, where the rivers that sustain crocodiles shrink every dry season into isolated pools, they are killing crocodiles. Not the massive saltwater crocodile, but Australia's other crocodilian, the freshwater crocodile, Crocodilus johnstoni. Half the size, shy, non-aggressive, the one that poses no danger to humans. The one that has sat at the top of its own food web for millions of years without a single natural predator. The dry season brings both species to the same water. A freshwater crocodile sees a toad, a large, slow-moving amphibian, and does exactly what evolution trained it to do. It bites. The result takes minutes. Conservation scientist Dr. Georgia Ward-Fear of Macquarie University has watched it happen. They go into seizures, she told NPR in 2024. Death is fairly quick and probably very painful, because it's essentially a massive cardiac arrest. Some freshwater crocodile populations in northern Australia have collapsed by more than 70%. At one site on the Victoria River in the Northern Territory, the population crashed by 76.9% after the toads arrived. Crocodile carcasses lined the riverbanks, bodies that simply had not been there the year before. Dr. Ward-Fear's team ultimately found a solution: feeding crocodiles dead cane toads modified to cause temporary nausea, teaching the animals to associate the toad with illness rather than food. The 2024 results showed the intervention reduced crocodile mortality by up to 95% in treated populations. It works. But the toads continue to advance. Here is what 17 years of tracking data ultimately revealed. The saltwater crocodile is not the solitary, mindless predator of popular imagination. These animals organize. Across 120 kilometers of river and estuary, tracked crocodiles self-sort into distinct communities, segregating by territory with a precision that resembles something closer to a social contract than an animal instinct. Dominant males hold fixed zones. Smaller males, nomadic, cautious, drift along the margins. Their daily movements follow tidal patterns. They surf currents to travel without exhausting themselves. They can remain submerged for 7 consecutive hours. One individual, tracked via satellite, covered 590 kilometers of Australian coastline in just 25 days, navigating a journey that would challenge most ocean vessels. But what the tracking data also shows is something that the political debate about crocodile management in Australia has largely missed. In 2024, 3 people died in crocodile attacks in Australia. The Chief Minister of the Northern Territory declared publicly that the crocodile population cannot be allowed to outnumber the human population of the territory, which stands at just 250,000 people. Calls for culling have intensified. Scientists argue that culling is largely futile, that crocodile numbers would need to fall by 90% to prevent even a single attack per year. The animals move too far, adapt too well, and territory too quickly refills. What the Wenlock River data shows is something neither side is fully accounting for. The crocodiles are already managing their own population. The dominant males are doing exactly what dominant males have done for 200 million years. They are eliminating the surplus. They are thinning the numbers. They are keeping the river in balance. The missing transmitters aren't a failure of the technology. They are the data. They are the clearest possible record of what happens in a river when the most efficient predator in the history of vertebrate life has nowhere left to go. They tagged 50 crocodiles. Fewer than a quarter came back. The rest are gone, taken by rivals that have ruled these rivers since before humans existed, or poisoned by an animal that humans brought to this continent and can't put back. In Brisbane, the researchers are still watching the hydrophones, still reading the data, still looking for answers in the signals that remain. But here, on the Wenlock River, one thing is certain. The dominant males don't need science to tell them what's happening to the river. They are the reason it's happening. When a world is full, something has to make room. And in 200 million years, nothing has ever made room quite like a saltwater crocodile.